Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on time this morning. Time now is 10:31 a.m. Today is March 18th, 2025, and we are ready to kickstart the CIoD Abuja Zone Business webinar. Because this session is packed full of activities, we must start right away. Others can join us as they come. I see that our president has already joined us. So I'll start by saying the president and chairman of Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Directors, Nigeria, Alhaji Tijjani Borodo, LLM, FCIoD, the Director General and CEO of the Chartered Institute of Directors, Nigeria, Mr. Dele Alimi, FCIoD, all council members who are with us today, those who have joined and those who will join later, the chairperson, FCIoD Abuja Zone, Mrs. Chukwurah Nwando, FCIoD. Our distinguished directors, moderators, panelists, and all participants here this morning, I say a very warm welcome to you all. Thank you for joining us today for this exciting, educative, and interactive webinar on artificial intelligence and business landscape. This morning, we're going to explore how artificial intelligence is reshaping the business landscape and at the same time unlocking new opportunities, driving innovations, and redefining how we work. My name is Maryam Bala Shehu, and I am honored to be your anchor for this webinar. So as it's with the practice, before we delve into this, the fascinating world of artificial intelligence and its impact on our businesses, it is my privilege to invite our host for this morning, the CIoD Abuja Zone Chairperson, Mrs. Chukwurah Nwando, for her welcome address, after which our chief host, President and Chairman of Governing Council, Alhaji Tijjani Borodo, will also give us his presidential remarks. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Nwando as she shares her opening remark with us. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you so much, Madam Maryam Shehu, our chairperson for Programs and Events Committee. Thank you, and I'll give my opening remarks now. Good morning, Mr. President and Chairman of the Governing Council, Alhaji Tijjani Borodo, LLM, FCIoD, our esteemed fellows, ESCO, Abuja Zone, and members of the Chartered Institute of Directors, the Director General, Mr. Dele Alimi, FCIoD, distinguished speakers, moderator, guests, industry leaders, and participants. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to this insightful webinar on artificial intelligence and the business landscape. AI really is no longer just a futuristic concept. It is here and is reshaping the industries, revolutionizing business operations, and unlocking a lot of opportunities for growth and efficiency. Across various sectors, AI is driving strategic decision-making and is also helping us to redefine how we approach corporate governance, sustainability, risk management, you name it in the business world. So as businesses navigate this era of rapid digital transformation, we need to understand AI's potentials, its challenges, and not just take advantage of it, but it is a necessity that we stay ahead. So today we have an exciting lineup of experts who will share their insights, real-world applications, and also help us to leverage AI in our businesses. It is an opportunity that we need to explore to keep our businesses innovative, productive, and for long-term successes. So I encourage each and every one of us to engage, type your questions in the chat box, and also envision how AI can really help you to shape the future of your organizations. Let us make this session not just informative, but a catalyst for us to have an actionable strategy for our organizations. So once again, I welcome you all, and I look forward to an enriching discussion this morning. At this juncture, I will invite our amiable president and chairman of council, Alhaji Tijjani Borodo, LLM FCIoD, to give us his opening address. Mr. President, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Chukwurah. Firstly, I want to commend you. I think this is the maiden webinar we're doing from Abuja, isn't it? So I commend your leadership and your team for what you've done and what you've been doing so far. I commend you. Now, I have a few remarks to make to this August gathering, and it goes thus. Members of the Governing Council of our institute here present, the chairman of Abuja CIoD Zone, Mrs. Nwando Chukwurah, FCIoD, fellows and members of the institute, our distinguished moderators, speakers, and panelists, our valued guests and associates, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to this webinar organized by the Abuja Zone of the institute. Today, we gather to explore the transformative powers of artificial intelligence, AI, in shaping the future of businesses and ways and means to ensure that AI utilized and harnesses responsibility and sustainability. First, let me appreciate the chairperson, Mrs. Chukwurah, Nwando, FCIoD, and members of the executive committee of our Abuja Zone for putting together this webinar, which addresses a topical and apt theme, especially as the world continues to evaluate the impact of AI on businesses. As directors, it has become important that we open our eyes to the implication of AI in strategies, operations, and directions of organizations that we superintend. As we begin, I would like to take a moment to express our sincere appreciation to our distinguished speaker and panelists of discussants who have joined us today. We thank you most sincerely. Your presence here and expertise will undoubtedly enrich our discussions and provide valuable insight to the discussions. On behalf of the Institute, I extend our gratitude to each and every one of you for sparing your time, expertise, and commitment to sharing your knowledge with us today. Artificial intelligence has emerged as a transformative force in the global business landscape. From chatbots to predictive analysis, AI has changed the way decisions are made, as it has improved the way and manner that information is provided for decision making in medicine, finance, automobile, legal, aviation, and many other professions. AI is revolutionizing the way we work, the way we interact, and most of all, the way we compete. However, as we embrace and harness the potentials of AI, we must also acknowledge the challenges and complexities of AI. From ethical considerations to fear of potential workforce displacement, we must address the concerns to ensure that the benefits and challenges of AI are considered in a wholesome manner. The power of AI in a business is undeniable. It has the potential to unlock unprecedented levels of efficiency, productivity, and innovation in business. through automation, routine tasks, augmenting decision-making, and providing insights from vast amounts of data. AI can help businesses improve customer experience, optimize operations and supply chain, enhance decision-making, and drive innovation and competitiveness. However, we must ensure that AI systems are transparent, equitable, and fair, and they do not perpetuate biases or discriminate against certain groups. As governance practitioners, we must ensure that the sanctity of the principles of good corporate governance are preserved, despite what we get from AI. The possible negative impact of AI on jobs and the workforce must also be adequately addressed to ensure that workers have the skills and training they need to thrive in an AI-driven economy. As we navigate these challenges and complexities, leadership plays a critical role. Leaders must therefore set a clear vision for how AI will drive businesses, strategy, and goals. Leaders must foster a culture of innovation, encourage entrepreneurship, learning, and innovation, and develop AI-ready talent. Workers must be trained to thrive in an AI-driven economy, while clear accountability for AI decision-making and outcomes are also crucial. In conclusion, I implore you all to let us embark on the journey together and explore the vast possibilities at the intersection of AI and businesses. Once again, I thank you most sincerely for joining us, and I look forward to an intellectually stimulating discussion. Thank you. Have a good morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President, our host and the chief host this morning, for your remarks and for helping us to practically set the tone for the sessions we have on AI today. Yes, I agree with you that AI has the potential to unlock a series of opportunities that can give values to us and our businesses. And it has to be done in a transparent, equitable, and fair manner. And that's exactly how, these are the subjects that we're going to be looking at this morning. Over the next 2 hours, we'll dive into key aspects of artificial intelligence in business. We will look at the background, then from background of AI, we will explore the application of this critical tool in different sectors, and then unveil the ethical, regulatory, and societal issues which our chief host and their hosts have talked about. In the course of discussion, we should be able, participants and everyone here should be able to appreciate what the next steps should be for us to embrace this new phenomenon. That's for us and for our businesses. This morning, we are lucky to have with us an excellent lineup of speakers who are experts in this field to share their knowledge and also inspire us to confidently embrace AI. We also encourage, like our host has said, we encourage your participation throughout. So please keep those questions coming on the chat box, and our able speakers will address them during the question and answer session. In the event that we're not able to take all the questions, I can assure you that we will take the remaining questions and trash them out with our speakers today. And then the answers will be sent out. We also urge you this is important. We urge you all to stay till the end of this webinar because we have a couple of surprises. We will have to choose the winners at the end of the webinar. There are valuable prizes to be won. So please stay to the end. Okay, at this juncture, I'd like to introduce our highly, not all of them, well, I will read out the profiles of, the profile of the moderator, but I want to, in brief, introduce our highly accomplished speakers who have most impressive and interesting profiles. Our speakers have done and are still doing incredible things in the tech space, media, policy, and reform advocacy. Because of time, we will, the moderator and I will only take the abridged version of their profiles, but I can assure you that whatever you listen to today is just our panelists, our moderator and our panelists are this and much more. So our moderator is Eyo Efyong. We'll read out his profile soon. Then we have our first panelist, Mina Obeten. She's a tech lawyer. She's with us today. And we have our second panelist, Mr. Fernandez Marcos Obiene, who is the current special assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on justice sector reform and ICT, digital and innovative technology. And then we have our third panelist, Scott Eneje, who is a global retail and an AI tech expert. I'll go ahead and read the shorts at the abridged version of our moderator's profile. Our moderator is Mr. Eyo Ofyong Eyo. He is the managing director of Hello Microfinance Bank Limited. Mr. Eyo is a trailblazer in the financial sector with a sterling 26-year career that intertwines expertise in banking, entrepreneurship, authorship, cooperative management, leadership, and data science. He is a honorary senior member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN, and he's also a fellow of the Chartered Management Institute, UK. Eyo is a member and a chairman of the Young Directors Forum, YDF, of the Chartered Institute of Directors, Nigeria. So without much ado, I think I also like to add this for Eyo. So beyond banking, he has authored publications and is spearheading initiatives that address societal need. He founded Nigeria's first academy and advocates for socialize for equity at prestigious fora. He's well, I've said this. Okay, so at this point, I'd like to hand over to the moderator, Mr. Eyo Efyong, to take us through the panel session proper. Thank you. Over to you, Eyo.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bala Shehu, for that excellent introduction. I'm truly excited about this segment of our webinar as we delve into a topic that is very, very relevant in our time, a topic that is shaping the future of how we engage, how we conduct businesses. And I'm truly privileged, to have among me a faculty of experts in AI, the use of AI. I mean, these are practitioners in the field. So to get started, I will be introducing Ms. Mina Obeten, who will be presenting to us, doing a short presentation to provide a high-level overview of AI, its background, its type, its components, and recent advancements in the field of AI. This presentation is meant to help frame our discussion and also ensure that all of us are on the same page as we delve into the panel discussion. Before I invite Ms. Mina Obeten to handle our presentation, we want to do a brief intro of our profile. Ms. Bala, Shehu, you're doing the introduction. Okay, I will just
you can go ahead. Yes, you can go ahead.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So Mina is a tech lawyer, a PR professional, and founder of the eLawyer Nigeria and MH Consult. She empowers legal professionals through technology, helping them stay relevant in an AI-driven world. With over 260,000 legal professionals impacted, she provides digital content for career growth. Through MH Consult, she has facilitated transformative workshops, fostering organizational alignment and productivity. Recognized with awards like the Cross River State Spirit of Enterprise Award, Mina is a member of the Nigerian Bar Association and other prestigious legal bodies. She specializes in AI basics, including its history, key concepts, benefits, challenges, and industry impact. She will be providing us with an introduction to AI, covering its type, components, and key advancements. Please join me in welcoming Mina Obeten. Thank you, Mina. Over to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Just to confirm that I'm audible, Mr. Iyo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're loud and
All right.
clear.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. And without much ado, I would just delve right into the conversation for today, which is AI, right? So this is a buzzword, as we have already reiterated over and over again. AI is the future. AI is changing the workforce. AI is literally in our everyday life, right? And there's also a misconception that AI is going to pretty much replace humans in the workplace, right? And the big question here is, will AI empower workers or will AI replace them, right? And it's an interesting conversation, actually, and I'm always excited, you know, when I'm brought upon, or when I'm called upon, rather, to talk about artificial intelligence. So let's just dive right into the conversation. What is AI? Introduction to artificial intelligence. So I was looking at the Future of Jobs report by UNESCO a couple of months. That was in February or January when it was just released, right? And I was looking at the statistics of the future of different professions, different sectors, right? And I realized one thing. Statistics show that AI is set to transform major industries in the world, right? By 2030, that's just 5 years from now, you know. And so a critical question would be, what skills will matter 5 years from now, right? What jobs are safe? How can businesses prepare for this change, right? How do we stay ahead of the curve? You know, also, what are the ethical implications of this technological advancement? You know, I believe that that is why we're here today. But before we delve into the panel discussion, I will just be giving us, you know, a background on what AI is. And I'm not going to delve so much into complexities because we have other panelists, lined up, fantastic speakers who are going to take us through, some aspect of this conversation. So what is AI, right? We hear about AI, we read about AI, we use AI, we apply AI every other day. So what is artificial intelligence? Going by the dictionary meaning, artificial intelligence is a technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human learning, comprehension, problem solving, decision making, creativity, and autonomy. So I always say this definition is too complex. I'm a teacher and I like to break things down, right? So in simple parlance, AI is basically the partnership between computers and humans, right? So simply put, AI is your house help. AI is your executive assistant. AI is your personal assistant, right? AI is basically an assistant. AI is your support system, right? And so AI is that technology that simulates human intelligence, and breaks down complex problems, makes it easier, for you to pretty much do work, right? That is what AI is, right? And we grew up in a world of garbage in, garbage out, a world where before now, what we had was programming, right? People need to program a system to work a certain way. But with AI now, all the system needs to do is learn from data, learn from numerical subsets of data that has already been given to the computers. So computers are able to think, computers are able to solve problems, faster and more accurately, than humans would. Let's go to the next slide. The history of artificial intelligence. So many people think artificial intelligence is a new word that just came in, when was COVID? 2019, 2018, after COVID, right? But it would be surprising and it would be shocking to know that AI has been here since forever. AI has been here since the 20th century, right? But what we had before now, like I said, was the garbage in, garbage out system where you need to program the computer to act a certain way. So computers were acting based on instructions, based on commands, right, that were given to it. So technically, we have always had AI, but what we have now is like an advanced form of AI. AI has transitioned from rule-based systems where computers are given programming languages, or computers are giving commands, to sophisticated machine learning, right, and deep learning technologies. Take, for instance, calculators. We've had calculators for a number of years now, right? We've had it for a long time, right? A calculator uses a set of instructions to give a particular result. The only difference, a calculator was an AI technology, which many of us might probably not know, right? So the only difference with that and what we have now is that, systems are not just able to compute numerical data. Systems are smarter. Systems are capable of learning, right? And over time, they can analyze large sets of data. So yeah, the world has pretty much moved from what it used to be, and now we are, we've heard lots of buzzwords. We have types of AI. We have the weak AI. Like I said earlier, AI is now part of our, okay. Someone is saying my slide is not visible enough. Please give me a minute.
Please, could you put it on slide mode?
Yeah, presentation mode.
Yeah, presentation mode, yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Mina. Is it okay?
I think we've lost the presentation. Yeah, the sharing. You're no longer sharing.
Hello? Please, is my screen visible?
No.
No, it's not.
Okay. Please, can you see it now?
Yes, we can see it, and it's in slide mode.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
It's back to.
You have to
Okay.
project it as presentation mode.
Hmm.
Oh, we lost it
My
again.
computer is giving me issues. Please give me a minute. Let me try and see if I can do.
Okay, Ayo, I'm going to suggest that if that will take time, maybe we can go ahead with the presentation and she will share the slides with us.
Okay. Okay. So
And
Mina, you
someone
can
says,
just,
bring in AI so we can see the screen.
okay. Okay. Mina, are you there? Okay. So maybe, okay.
You can just go ahead or
Continue.
mute.
So I'm here. I think I'll just share the slide after now. I'm using a smaller
Okay.
system and it's
Okay.
giving me issues. So let me just do this.
Okay.
All right. So I'm sorry for the break in transmission. So yes. So we have moved from what used to be to what we have now, right? We've seen the world move. We have buzzwords now like artificial intelligence. We have buzzwords like machine learning. We have deep learning, neural networks, natural language processing, large language models, etc. So natural language processing, this is basically an AI technique, so machine learning, rather, is a type of AI that, where computers basically learn through training, right? So they give outputs based on what the machine has learned over time or the information that it has been given. So I always liken machine learning to a baby, right? When a baby is born, when a baby starts crawling, the baby learns how to talk based on. The baby does not learn how to talk from a manual. So the baby is not looking at a manual. The baby doesn't even know how to call words. But based on the fact that the baby hears people pronouncing certain words, the baby gets used to certain words. The baby gets used and gets accustomed, right, to certain words. So machine learning is basically learning based on the information that you hear, you perceive that has been given to you over time. So the machine learns, right? Deep learning, on the other hand, is how machines analyze large data sets, how machines are capable of scaling up research, because, nowadays we have machines that use neural networks, right? So neural networks use subsets, use large data sets, and there are architectural systems that have been put in place to help process data, right? Before now, a multi-million-dollar company will employ engineers to man systems, to design products, but with new technology, AI is able to help companies, organizations analyze large data sets. AI is able to help organizations get creative, right? So deep learning, we have neural networks. Recently, there was something, these are smarter computers that I don't think have been developed yet. There was something I read online about, what's his name? Elon Musk, right? Trying to generate chips that can make computers, or that can make humans, rather, act like computers, basically, right? So with neural networks, the world is going to next level of AI, where robots can act as human beings, and human beings can have neural chips that can make them also act like robots sometimes, right? So the world has advanced. We have natural language processing as well. This is an AI technique that analyzes large data set based on statistics or predictability. This technology basically helps to translate communication, makes it easier for humans to understand or to interpret large amounts of data. Take, for instance, we have things like TikTok these days, right? We have Google translators. These apps that are AI enabled, are apps that use natural language processing to work, because they sort of convert whatever is said to human language in a way that humans can understand, right? And then we have large language models. Now, large language models are types of AI that can communicate using human language. And guess what? We use these in our everyday life. So ChatGPT, that is used every other time, is an example of this. How does an LLM work? It's an artificial neural network that deals with numbers, right? So AI, the machine uses numbers to analyze situations through training, like I've said, So AI is, basically going to shake and basically going to scale up the workforce. And we pretty much need to align. So I was having a conversation recently with someone about the technological advancements we have seen these days, right? I think we're talking about something that happened recently, and AI was used to adjudicate on a matter in court. AI was brought in as a lawyer, and at the end of the day, the client did not win that case because, of course, you cannot expect AI to sort of analyze certain situations, or be as strategic as a human brain can be. So at the end of the day, AI actually lost that case and AI was sued to court. But the problem is you cannot hold AI accountable. So that case was even dead on arrival, right? And I'm saying this to say that while we embrace the culture of innovation, right, we also need to be aware that AI is never going to replace humans. AI would only enable humans. AI would only support humans. AI is only there as a collaborating tool to collaborate with humans, on tasks, to optimize processes and to basically help you streamline, workflow. So let's move to the benefits of AI. What are the benefits of AI? So we have AI in healthcare, right? AI is being used nowadays to treat diseases, to help people. AI is enhancing healthcare precision. We have medical diagnostics that are powered by AI. So I remember back then in 2011 or thereabout, where we had companies that were already springing up, companies that were using AI to diagnose illnesses, companies that were using AI, to sort of manage medical situations. So we've had it for a very long time, right? And now hospitals are synchronizing AI into their systems to help them manage the records of clients, of patients, to help them manage feedback and just to help them in their day-to-day operations. We have even gone a notch higher, right? There's a hospital in China that is currently an AI-powered hospital. So they have doctors, they have nurses that are all robots, right? All you need to do is, I think they have a platform. So if you're a patient and you're looking for a medical solution in some way, all you need to do is go on your system, sort of go on that platform and do whatever you need to do, you know, do your checkups, do your consultation with these medical robots. So the world is moving, and the healthcare is now being powered by, you know, large language models, right, that are capable of autonomous interaction, that are capable of, you know, having medical knowledge, right, to analyze situations. The second is better environmental solutions. So we have AI that is currently assisting that is currently helping in climate modeling, disaster prediction. You know, the world is transitioning into, we have what we call green energy, right? And now we're using most of these AI-powered tools to power these industries, you know, to sort of help us get accurate data on what is happening around the world, right? The next is smart assistant and home automation. So we have AI-powered devices like Alexa, we have Google Assistant, we have smart home systems, you know, and efficiency in daily life. So many of us use applications like Grammarly, you know, we use applications like Bard, we use applications like ChatGPT, Alexa, Google Assistant. All of these are, you know, smart assistants, right, that are helping us streamline the work that we do, that are helping us break down our tasks into simpler forms, right? And let me add a caveat. While AI is important to take us to the next level, while technological advancement is great and beautiful, right, it is important that we do not rely solely on AI alone, right? There are times when you notice you put something, you know, on ChatGPT, or you put an information on Grammarly to sort of help you transcribe or paraphrase, and they give you a particular output or a particular answer that is similar to like 100 other answers. So at that point in time, you need to bring your own brain, you know, to look at that word that has been transcribed by ChatGPT or Grammarly and think of how you can further rephrase it, you know, in your own word in such a way that it doesn't look similar to like 100 other outputs that ChatGPT has already generated. So we also know how to bring in our own human brain, you know, while we are using ChatGPT or while we're using AI to support the work that we're currently doing or we're already doing, right? So the next benefit here is improved transportation. I mean, we have self-driving cars these days, right? AI is being used to even manage traffic systems, to even manage, you know, issues of road rules violation. When people break road rules, there's a technology in place to know that, oh, a certain car, you know, probably beat traffic lights, or a certain car drove above a certain speed limit. So we have technologies in place like that that are powered by this system, which makes it, you know, easier for all of us. And AI benefits continues to grow, you know, as technology advances, as life goes on, things are changing, things are moving. Challenges of AI. So AI, we have...
Okay, Mina.
Hello?
Yes, we'll have to wrap up on this slide.
Okay,
and then
okay, sir.
We'll take
Okay.
deeper dive. We'll take a deeper dive in the panel discussion, and then you'll be able to find, you know, some of the other contents that you have for us. Fantastic job. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. So let me just wrap up quickly. So basically, AI is the future, and I know we're going to delve into AI more in the next couple of minutes, right? But I just wanted to leave this with us. Like I said, while we're optimizing AI tools, while we're optimizing AI resources, we must also know that there's a place of our brain also working. And as organizations, we must constantly encourage the use of these technologies within our systems, support them, have incubation programs for people within your system who are not well abreast with these technologies, sort of know more about this. But like Mr. Ayo said, I'm sure we're going to talk more, on delve into some of these issues, critically in the panel session. Thank you so much for having me, and that would be the end of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Mina, for this excellent and informative presentation. You have truly, truly given us a great foundation upon which we can move into the panel discussion. Thank you so much. And as you have rightly said, we would share your presentation with all our participants. I know that even as the coordinator had earlier warned us that when we begin the discussion on AI, we will not be able to finish it. I mean, it's not exhaustive. It's so vast. And I know that our faculty of panelists are ready to do justice to just that within the time frame that we are given. So now we have set the stage for our panel discussion, and I'm excited to introduce our distinguished panelists who will be sharing their thoughts and perspective in this fascinating topic, artificial intelligence and business landscape. Let me briefly introduce the very first one, member of our panelists. His name is Fernandez Marcos Obiene, aka the Femist. He's a legal and technology practitioner and policy and reform advocate. He is currently the special assistant to the President of Nigeria on justice sector reform and ICT/digital and innovative technology, and chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association section on legal practice committee on law and technology. Fernandez is a partner at Tesada Attorneys, a Tony Elumelu Foundation alumnus, and a co-founder of a legal tech startup. Please join me to welcome Fernandez Marcos Obiene. Our next panelist is, yes, please, keep up the emojis. Yeah, keep it coming. Thank you very much. Our third panelist is Scott C. Eneje, who is a global retail and AI tech expert. With over 15 years of experience, he has helped over 1,000 businesses streamline technical processes, and in 2016 co-founded Yandi Nigeria, an AI-driven e-commerce company. At Centricity Incorporated, he built the model training tool that helped secure $2 million in funding, featured on Bloomberg and WSJ. In 2021, he led the development of CoreSite Research live stream shopping platform, hosting 20,000 shoppers in the US first ever live stream shopping festival. Today, he's a global AI influencer at CoreSite. Please join me in also welcoming Scott C. Eneje. And of course, our speaker, Mina Obete, will also be joining the panelists. And together, we'll delve very quickly into this exciting discussion. Taking it from what Mina had already presented to us, giving us an excellent overview of AI, the advancements, the types, and the components. In 30 seconds, and this is for you, Mina, how would you say AI has evolved over the years? I mean, in your presentation, you have shared that AI is not new. It's something that had happened. So over the years, how has it evolved? Okay, can you hear me?
Hello, sorry, Mr. Ayo, I didn't get that. Sorry, please, can you repeat the question?
Okay, I mean, in your presentation, you have shared given us the basic definition of AI. And you had also alluded to the fact that AI is not new. AI has been around for a while. So my question is, how has it evolved over time? You know, how have we seen AI, you know, maybe manifest itself over time?
Okay, thank you for that beautiful question. So it's quite straightforward, right? AI is helping every system, right? So I'll give an example. I worked with Lafarge for a short while in the construction industry. And I worked in the plant, right? And with AI, you have machines that are used to manage quality control. You have machines that are able to, you know, sort of analyze large data sets, right? So before now, I'm sure that these processes were done traditionally. So we have the traditional system of doing things. But with the advancements, you can see that these systems have been optimized and now made easier for people, right? Secondly, I'll talk about visibility. So AI is now used by companies to become more visible. A company in Nigeria can become a global sensation from anywhere with the advent of technology, right? And it has so advanced that now people can even place business ads. You can place ads for your organization and, you know, sort of tailor the ad to reach a particular demography, right? People who are going to be more interested in your services or your product. AI is everywhere. You know, basically, I talked about the medical aspect of things as well while I was presenting. So with all of these examples, or with these few examples that I have already shared, we can see that AI has transformed, you know, different systems. So yes, those are some of the ways that AI has pretty much helped us. Even in our organizations, AI is helping to manage clients, clients' feedback. AI is helping to manage interactions with our clients. So most of us have automated responses on our websites, which is powered, most of those websites are powered by AI technology, you know. So these are some of the ways that AI has transformed, you know, how we do work and pretty much made it easier for us.
Thank you so much, Mina. Scott, I mean, your training, your experience spans several industries, you know, finance, healthcare, e-commerce, retail. I mean, you can go on and on. I mean, just going through your profile, it's amazing. So I would love to hear, I'm sure participants are interested in just really knowing, you know, the far-reaching impact, you know, the application, the use cases, some of the things you have encountered across various industries. How has AI impacted these industries? What are some of the applications? What are the use cases? You know, so that even as we're listening, you know, we can begin to try to connect the dots with our various businesses and see how AI can actually come in, you know, to improve our business outcomes.
Thank you very much for that question. Typically, since this is a digital call, I have to always ask, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good.
Yes,
All right, brilliant. So there are several industries I could address, and the beautiful thing is artificial intelligence itself is supposed to be an imitation of a person. So think about how you can have a child study medicine, and 3 years later the child goes, you know what, I want to do law. And if the child is brilliant enough, they can move from medicine to law, and then say, you know what, I'm not doing law, I feel like doing music. And if that child was my father's child, that child would probably be dead because he can't go from law to music. But the point is, because the person is brilliant enough, they can move across industries. It's the same thing with artificial intelligence. It's being trained by human beings to be able to cut across industries and to sort of understand how the industries work. So key applications I have seen, I kind of put a note together. So when we look at healthcare particularly, there's this AI DeepMind, and that's Google's DeepMind. We know that Google DeepMind is helping with eye defect detection. So typically you would have to go for like a long scan to understand if you have eye defect. Now, artificial intelligence can pick that almost immediately, can give diagnostics, can give recommendation almost instantly. So think about what you would do in 3 sessions. You have the AI do it in less than 30 minutes. It's shortening the time of understanding like problems that people have. And it's not just that, right? We're seeing it being applied in cancer care. There is a particular artificial intelligence that was developed specifically for fibrosis. And this one was used to understand like how to cure or how to manage and detect this. And it's currently in phase 2 human trials, specifically in the US and in China. So this is where we see artificial intelligence playing a role. This same fibrosis issue has been like 50 years of study. So the protein managing this has been 50 years of study. Human beings have spent the last 50 years trying to figure it out. And in less than a year, the artificial intelligence took the same information and was able to come out with the solution. That just tells you how fast it sums up problems, right? That's healthcare. For finance, one of the biggest problems we see is fraud. Everyone is always saying, how can we figure out fraud? And human beings are smart. For every time someone does one thing and say, this is a new policy, somebody will come up with a new way to bypass that. Interestingly, artificial intelligence can detect fraud, and it can detect it faster than a person would. If I have to detect fraud, I would go through a full model. I would have to do a full audit. I'll have to understand the entire numbers, and it could take me days, weeks to understand. The larger the numbers I'm looking at, the longer the time I spend trying to detect if there is fraud or if there has been fraud. I can have an AI do this in minutes. So think about the cost of time. Think about the losses that are incurred with every hour that you waste in detecting fraud. Now you can have that summed up faster. And this is finance. In retail, which is my industry, it's everywhere. You know, Amazon is using it. Amazon is currently looking at how to go completely humanless from manufacturing to distribution, which in itself is insane, because we were doing a presentation recently with some of the board members at Amazon, and something we noticed is they first experimented with like humanless shops, right? You can go in and then you could just pick up stuff and the machine can detect everything that you're doing, make your purchase and leave the shop, right? It's funny because they're going from there to say, okay, how can we now do deliveries expertly like this? How can we do manufacturing? So think about the industrial era where people were going to the factories to manufacture stuff. Now machines came in and it was doing all the manufacturing, and you had expert people who could operate the machines do that. Imagine that the machine operating the machine is now a machine. This is how retail is looking at this, how it can cut the production time, increase manufacturing number, improve distribution massively. So you now have a system in retail that can help distribution, that can help manufacturing, that can reduce the burden of wait time when you want a product. In automobile, I think Mrs. Mina kind of covered this, right? In automobile, self-driving cars have been here for a while, give or take 10, 15 years, right? They've been experimenting in self-driving cars for a while. But it's beautiful because now I am not worried about the self-driving car trying to detect sensor and motion. I can tell that there's a machine that is not just using simple automation of sensors, but a machine that understands human logic, that understands the rule of driving, that understands road navigation, that is now driving these cars. And we see them coming out, and China is playing a big role in this. China is really changing the game here. So I think I've said a lot about like where we're seeing this applied in different industries. If I'm to come to the Nigerian market, where I see it's really helping the Nigerian market is in processes and strategic execution. You go for a typical meeting where you want to do execution and you would have 10 people sit down for 3 hours. How I used to estimate that is if one person is sitting down for 3 hours, 10 people, that's 30 hours of wasted time, right? Now you could have that 30 hours of wasted time put into a machine and everyone says, this is my thoughts, we need to process this. What are the best possible outcomes? Especially models that have been trained by all of these 10 people. You can have instant decision-making. You can have instant strategy execution. You can have instant solution being proposed without wasting 10 people's time, 3 hours gone, which is 30 long hours in deliberation. So I think that's one strong place we can see it working here in Nigeria. The more we go into manufacturing, I think the more we can start using it here as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Scott. Moving over to Fernandez. Fernandez, you are a lawyer. You are been involved in advocacy, policy reform, you serve in the committee at the Nigerian Bar Association. So the experience in terms of formulating policies, you know, in terms of just governance, regulator, guardians to regulators on how policies best develop as it relates to technology. Also heard from the president and chairman of council of Chartered Institute of Directors that are not new. Ethical concerns, you know, concerns around job replacement. You know, for you in your practice, you know, what are some of the biggest ethical issues, you know, that you've encountered, you know, with in relation to AI deployment? You know, the president spoke about bias, you know, privacy, consent. So we'd like to hear from you from the standpoint of a legal practitioner and somebody who also deeply with technology. What are some of the biggest ethical issues you encountered
Okay,
and how
so
are you addressing them?
okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'm going to say I'm very happy that you stopped Mina, because by the time I saw Mina's slide, I was like, what am I going to say again? She would have said everything, and then I would have just said, I concur. That's what I would have said. I would say, yes, well, I refer to what Mina has said. That's it. Thank you very much. But that being said, so I've done a presentation for this, and I will share the link just now. I'll share the link here. But the thing is that while we're having the conversations, you know how you argue with somebody, people discuss something, and then when it's time you enter, they're asking question, the person says something entirely different. Really, that's how it is. So while we're talking, a couple of other things came to mind, and I'm going to include them in my presentation. That being said, from the ethical point of view, I mean, when you do your Google search or you do anything, they're talking about data privacy, they talk about issues with accountability, they talk about issues with bias, but those are some of those are the two, I mean, the most discussed, but not necessarily the most significant ones. But I will just address those three before I go on to the rest. So data protection, and I'm careful not to say this so that people don't, because when we refer to data protection, we only refer to personal data. There are two kinds of data that I refer to in the context of these conversations, not generally. We have personal data and impersonal data. So, for example, business secrets, business data, etc. Now, artificial intelligence works with information. I mean, modern artificial intelligence works with information. When you deal with machine learning and all the other neural networks, you have to put information. Without information, it can't really do anything. It's learning from the information that it's getting from society. The problem with it is that you have to be careful what information you're putting in. You want it to be able to do the work, but you also don't want your privacy to be invaded. So you have to. That's one of the most significant difference. And I was at the IBA conference last year, and they were talking about data protection. And then I was saying on the African end, we are complaining that African information, when you go and do stuff online, you only have information about foreign people. You only have information about the West. There's hardly any African information. And then we are stopping AI from getting our personal information, which ordinarily would have used to train them. And so that's one of the most significant issues. And I'm not just talking about personal data, I'm also talking about business data. You want to be able to, for example, you want to do a business plan, you want to work on something, you want a first draft from AI. That means we have to actually feed it with business plans. But if you are feeding it with business plans, that means your business information, your individual information, your things that relate to copyright, things that relate to intellectual property, other forms, those things are things that ordinarily they would need to have so they understand that scope and they'll be able to give you better things. So you now have to manage those issues of whether you should provide data and to what extent you should provide data. That's a significant point. Then there's the issue of fairness and bias. So AI deals with information, and the more information you put in it, the more it's able to accurately give you information. Now, if the information that you put in it is only information relating to Yorubas and Igbos or relating to Americans, you would find that information would not typically you would not, when you ask for results, the results will not come that relates to, for example, the German or the Soko man. There was this trending, is it thesis that somebody did, a PhD thesis, and a video was made out of it where AI was not able to detect black people, the features of black people. It was only able to detect the features of white people. So what that meant is that sometimes it mismatched people. So what that meant is that if you're using AI, for example, for crime detection, you'd find that they will see a black man and put two black men together. This guy did not do it. AI will say that is the man that did it. So because AI is being used for different purposes, for example, for profiling, you want to travel, you need a visa, they are using AI to profile, you're looking at your pictures, looking at your features, you want to open a bank account, setting bank account, you want to do certain transactions, you're required to put in your personal data. But again, if it's not able to capture and use this data well, you find that you give biased responses to certain things. Now, there's also the issue of accountability. Who is responsible for? There are two aspects of accountability. The first aspect is who is responsible for decisions that are made by AI, mistakes and decisions that are made by AI, and then two, there's the second part, which is you should be able to explain the decision that AI has made. So, for example, if a self-driving car hits you, who is responsible? Who is liable? Is it the self-driving car, or is it the person that is in the car that refused to use it? Is it the manufacturer? Is it so there are issues that relate to that? Then there's also the issue of, okay, you've made a decision on the basis of AI. You should be able to explain how that decision is made. Typically, I would say if you're using AI to generate an output, you are responsible because you are supposed to you're supposed to vet that decision before it goes out. But it's not always the case. It's not always the case. For example, sometimes it's the manufacturer that has that problem. So that's one of the more significant problems we have. And I want to be fast so that Mina will have an opportunity to come and talk about all the other things that she wants to talk about. And there's also the issue of the responsibility to prevent crime. So we want to develop AI. We want AI we want to allow AI to come in and develop it, but also want to prevent certain fraudulent activities. So to what extent do you allow it? Do you allow the public access to artificial intelligence as growing? To what extent do you allow the growth? Do you say, you know what, we stop it so that nobody's doing any crime with AI? Or do you want to allow it to develop? Because it's easy to use AI. So I want to give an example. Just one moment. Let me show you something. Hold on one moment, please. Let me be sure that I'm enabling the sound. Yep.
One of these books. Which one?
So these are, of course, this is Theodore, whatever it is, Canadian former prime minister. Now, these are two videos. One is deepfake and one is not. One is AI generated and one is real. So you have to now tell me if
book that I got excited about reading through. It's called This Can't Be Happening in McDonald Hall. It's called How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom.
Yeah, it was the last one.
So, okay, well, there's a giveaway. You can see that the last one, obviously, they say it was fake, but looking at it, listening to it, it has all the features of the real thing. So how do you want to be able to prevent things like that? So to what extent do you allow? That's a dilemma that both individuals and government have to face. There's also the issue of, hold on, let me stop my sharing. There's also the issue of the digital divide. So you want to develop AI. Hello, am I audible or visible? I'm both.
You are audible.
Okay, so you want to develop AI that allows you to be able to want to work for everybody, but what you find in a lot of cases is that certain people who are not wealthy enough can't have access to some level of AI. I give an example. For example, if you're using AI now, if you don't have money, you can only have access to, for you to even get a phone or something that will give you this, another problem. But eventually you get that and you have internet. If you're using, for example, a chat GPT, you have a very basic version that is free. Then you have another version that is $20. And then there's now the third version, which is $200. How many people can afford $200 per month for this? So you find that in the development of AI, you have it sort of like a divide. So you want technology to come, and technology is expensive. So you want this technology to come, but then how do you now manage to ensure that it's available to all? Because if you say you want to reduce the pricing, that means you will not get the high level of technology that you need. Then on the other hand, you want to make it accessible, you want to make it expensive, then a lot of people will not have access to it. So you have to now find a way to match that device. And the divide is getting wider and wider with the deployment of artificial intelligence as we go on. Then there's also the issue of, yes, you want to sustain the economy and promote jobs. AI, you want AI to come, you want people to use AI, but then you are realizing that as what's her name, Mina had already indicated at the start, people are going to lose their jobs. A lot of jobs are changing character. So if these jobs are changing character, if things are changing, how do you then manage to retain jobs, without, even though you're using AI? So you want to, strike that balance in between. So these are some of the ethical. There's also the issue of societal change. With AI developing, you need information. You need to be sure that you are retaining things like culture, the good aspects of your culture, and you're developing. You don't want, and I'm not just talking about individual culture. There's also issues with business culture and other forms of culture. So you want to retain those things. How do you manage to retain them while allowing AI? Because of course, you are learning uses information from third parties. So you're learning third-party information and you want to implement it, but you also want to retain what you have. So these are some of the ethical issues. There are a couple more, but that's about it. So I don't take too much of your time. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Fernandez. It's really just, it's not exhaustive, but you've done a fantastic job. Just really touching virtually of our businesses, and just how the ethical concerns, especially, how those concerns can also be addressed. We are not to be afraid of AI, but we are to embrace it. We are to prepare for it. We are to upskill and see how best we can use AI to make better decisions. Now, I'm coming back to Mina. Mina, what advice would you give to organizations that are just starting off on their AI journey? These are newbies, they're thinking of embracing AI, they're just starting off. What advice would you give?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ayo. So Fernandez always has a way of inserting me in his conversation. We have a long-standing fight, but anyways, that's for later. Okay. So first, I'd like to say start small. Start small, right? Automate simple tasks. It can be as little as using Grammarly to correct a proposal or to correct a particular document, fact findings using AI tools. While we were having a conversation, I saw someone drop a comment about bad stuff and how to detect dishonest people. So that's something that AI cannot do. However, there are AI-powered tools that you can use to actually fact find. You can use to do your investigation. Social media has made it easy for you to get information about anybody these days, right? TikTok even has your details down to your home address these days. So it's really easy for you to get information about people online. So yes, start small. The second one will be to invest in training, right? I think we don't do that a lot. I was having a conversation with a friend who is like a cybersecurity giant in the world, and we're having a conversation yesterday, and she said something. She said, it's not that these cyber criminals or people who perpetuate cyber crimes are too brilliant. It's not that Yahoo boys are too smart, right, to hack an entire system or to defraud an entire company. The problem is we are ignorant, right? And when you're ignorant of the devices of these people or how they operate, they have a modus operandi, and you need to understand that before you're even able to tackle them, right? So the first thing is training your staff, making them understand certain concepts, making them understand privacy, making them understand that there's a difference between a secured link and unsecured link, because many of us don't even know that. We just go on Google and any link we see, we're trying to find something, you click on it, when you see accept all cookies. If I ask maybe 70 or 60% of us on this call, if we know what cookies means, many of us have no idea. But we will accept cookies, because we need to get access to that platform, right? And most of the time, you're giving away sensitive data to certain platforms. And we don't even read the privacy policy of most of these platforms that we click, or we go on. Because most of the time, they have the right to your private data. They have the right to share your private data with third parties. So we need to start by training our staff to understand, some of these things and understand how to manage information, how to manage data, how to interact on the cyberspace. Another thing is lots of companies don't understand encryption. And that's why you can see a cyber hacker hacking, a company on Wall Street or one of the biggest companies in the world. I don't know how many of us have seen this. Is it Global Hack? There's a movie on Netflix currently, Global Hack or something, right? Where somebody just starts somewhere, a young boy just starts somewhere and hacked an entire application, hacked an entire app, So these are things that are happening every day, and we need to arm ourselves. How many of us understand phishing emails or the meaning of phishing emails? Right? Not many of us. And these are some of the issues. So education and knowledge is key to help us stay ahead of the curve, Lastly, we need to upskill. We need to scale up or skill up, as the case may be. You need to learn new skills, right? You need to encourage the people within your system, within your organization, to also learn skills that can help them move with the evolving time. Because jobs in the next 5 years, many people are going to be out of work. Many people are going to lose their jobs. And only people who are well abreast or well abreast with how AI works, with how technology works, are going to be, at the forefront of this evolution, right? So I think these are some of the things we can do to, pretty much help us with our technological advancements or, sort of growing within whatever organization we are, help us start our AI journey, as the case may be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mina. You've really done justice to that. And which just really takes me back memory lane. I mean, as a young man, when I was growing up, my first bank account, right? I had to walk into a bank. I had to provide a valid form of identification. I needed to provide utility bill and several other things. And then somebody had to now come to my house to verify. They call it address verification or visitation. But today, with AI, with you just having a phone in your hand, you can download an app. You can take a selfie of yourself. You can impute your NIN, and it speaks to a system through API. It makes an API call and it validates the NIN number. And then I can upload several documents and ta-da, I have a bank account. That is the power of AI. And then my address is even verified using Google Map or whatever kind of map. It's amazing. Which really brings me to the next question, and this is for you, Scott. What are some of the recent advancements in AI? I mean, during your last answering the last question, you touched on several, industries. Just bring us up to speed. What are the recent advancements in AI, particularly the ones that you think are groundbreaking?
Okay. So I think I will start with the most popular, and this is generative AI, Gen AI. I believe a lot of us interact with Gen AI without not we like to. If you use something as simple as Google today to try to search for anything, Gemini forces you to see their results first. So Gemini, which is Google's AI, shows you the result. That's an example of Gen AI. So in a way, we interact with it almost every day as long as we interact with the internet, right? So Gen AI is something that we've seen, and the explosion of Gen AI became, became something more phenomenal for everybody when ChatGPT was introduced, right? I like how Mrs. Mina kind of told us that AI have been here for a very long time, and that's the truth. AI has been here for a very long time. I think in the late 19th century, down into the 20th century, when computers first came into being, right? So now that we have generative AI, it's because we are living in an era where content is king. I'm sure if you run a business, they will tell you that content is king. So being that the one thing that rules the business world, the general world, communication, entertainment is content, any AI that is playing in that particular space will be seen as strong. So we have our ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have Gemini. I saw someone mention DeepSeek changing the landscape. There is a reason why DeepSeek is changing the landscape. It's one key thing Barrister Fernandez addressed, that DeepSeek kind of came to the market to play, right? So with ChatGPT, you probably need $20 to subscribe to get a good version, right? DeepSeek gives you the exact same model for free, right? It's that concept of kind of breaking down accessibility to artificial intelligence that DeepSeek played in Gen AI, right? So you now have companies that are infusing AI, tap into DeepSeek's resource to build their systems or to build their products, right? Another groundbreaking thing we're seeing is agentic AI. Part of what I do on a day-to-day basis is to help some of the businesses I interact with agentic AI. So when people say AI, would take jobs, the truth is, it's the people who use AI that we should be worried about, because here is something I was called to do recently. So a major company in the US wanted to cut down their staff by 50% because they were running low on funding, right? And they didn't know who to cut out. So the first thing they did was to
Oh, wow.
those annually. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were frozen. It is okay now.
Okay. Every time I get frozen, I would always see my village people after me. So I hope you can hear me now. All right. So what I was saying was a company recently reached out, and what they wanted to do was they wanted to cut costs because they were getting low on funding. So I'm talking about agentic AI. And one of the things they did was they used the machine to measure up redundancies to look at tasks that were repetitive. And then what they wanted was to have someone build one agent. So if you have one staff who cost you $80,000 annually, and then you have 10 of those people doing redundant work, you could build one AI agent, right? Now, there are 3 ways to build an AI agent. You could use ChatGPT's free model to create an agentic AI, then put it into a landing page that will run the work. So if you have a simple basic engineer, that person can run it up, probably cost you $2,000, $3,000 to do the first model. And that's it. The agentic AI has the list of tasks and can run everybody's job. So if you have 10 people, $800,000 annually, you cut it down to $2,000 one-time cost, and maybe maintenance of $5,000 to $8,000 annually, right? Now, it's that key thing that we see agentic AI doing for a lot of business, specifically in the retail sector. And that alone has become really explosive. So even though we're saying the next 5 years, work style will change, we're already seeing a change now, right, with agentic AI. Another place that we've seen like groundbreaking advancements is in drugs, healthcare. Healthcare is one thing that has been very critical for everybody to look at. And I think it's easily cool. They kind of worked on a product for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. I mentioned this earlier, all right? And this is important because there are several illnesses, there are several diseases that we are struggling with as humans, right? We are fragile creatures. Now, these machines can study and understudy these things as fast as possible. So seeing what CIoD did is a very big deal in the medical space. But beyond that, I think the most groundbreaking I have personally seen is the infusion of AI in robotics for surgery, right? So we know that we have humans performing surgery, then robotics became a big thing in 2010, right? Robotics have been here for a long time, but in 2010, robotics went into medicine full time. The same way in 2023, we had AI go into law and we had an artificial intelligence pass the bar, which I think is fantastic, right? So to all our lawyers here, robotics went into medicine and was helping with surgery as a support or as an assistant in medicine. With the infusion of AI, you now have robots playing lead medical roles, and they're currently being tested in China. You have them playing generation of organs, right?
Well, AI is gonna bring him back. It's frozen again. Please bear with us.
Can we still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. So we have, I was talking about using AIs and robots to sort of build organs now. So rather than wait a year, 3 years to get like organ replacement, we have this machine is currently working on a faster way to generate. The only thing I think that has been put ethically is that they would not generate the brain, but like generating your livers, your lungs, your heart, those are things that are currently in the world, and they are making huge wave in the medical industry. Entertainment is changing. I put up a video a couple of weeks ago, and I had a machine write, compose, produce the song that was used in the background, right? So it means even though I have a terrible singing voice, I can create a song that would sound lovely, right? And I can put it out because it's my song, and because I probably worked with the machine to train the model that come up with the song that you're listening to, I can make royalties off it, right? That's becoming very huge in entertainment. I'm not going to talk about recommendation because recommendation has been happening for a while, AI being used for recommendation, but being used for actual production is a huge thing in entertainment. I'm trying to break it down by industry, but these are the 4 areas that I think has been significant. I've mentioned automobile before, that is also significant. Yeah, I could go on and on about like all the industries that we see them playing in, but I would highlight again agentic AI, generative AI, AI in medicine, automotion, and general computing. I think these are the industries that we've seen explosive AIs and we've seen them working.
Thank you very much, Scott. Fantastic response. Moving on to Fernandez. I know that in your last response, you had touched on ethical concerns, the area of fairness, privacy, data protection, accountability, transparency, and so on. Just on ethical issues that are, just facing AI currently. As somebody who is also seated in a committee with the Nigerian Bar Association, and someone who's also a special assistant to the federal government, which means that they are very comfortable in the area of regulation. What role do you think governments or regulators can play, in just overseeing AI development and deployment in Nigeria? You are muted. Fernandez, you are muted. Unmute, please.
Well, thank you very much. Unfortunately, my background wouldn't change when I came back online. I had to go off because of the issues with the video. So I'm going to address this from 3 perspectives. There's the government perspective, there's the organizational perspective, which is the companies themselves, and then there's for organizations like the CIoD. From a government perspective, I was at the African Union Summit in February this year, last month, and a lot of the governments were saying we need to provide information, we need to be able to develop AI, otherwise we're going to be the same way we are behind other continents in terms of information, in terms of data and all those things. We'll still be behind. That is an opportunity for us to go forward. So the government has a very big role to play. There's the issue of funding, there's the issue of making the environment available, there's also the issue of policy. So, for example, I know that the NITDA sometime last year or the year before had developed, I think last year, developed a system that allowed African information to be uploaded. They were calling for people to provide that information for use of AI. So for them to be able to use it and learn African culture, African, Nigerian based, essentially provide information that relates to Nigeria so that we can use that for the improvement of AI. There's also the need for us to have to put in a lot of money because learning AI is difficult. For AI, creating AI is expensive. Language, the learning models, the machines are, what most of us see is the output. We see that where you can use our laptops and do AI, but there are issues with data centers, there are issues with electricity, power, there are lots of other components, there are issues with devices that need to be created. If we don't have sufficient willingness and political willingness essentially to provide those and actual steps taken to provide those, that would be a problem. There's also the issue of policy. So of course, for now we have the NDPA, which says you should not process data externally without consent. You have to do this, you have to do that, which is very good. So we need more regulation around that area and more clarity as to regulation around that area, not just at the level of government, but also communicating these policies as much as possible to individuals. So through events like this and other events, we're discussing with people in the private sector, getting them to know what the situation is, what is available, what they can do, what they can't do, what they can take away. So for example, I know that the Data Protection Act, for example, say that people should not be subject to automated decision making except under three circumstances. And this is something that I'm sure majority of the people here would not ordinarily know. But this is a law that we have in place in Nigeria. We have a number of all these things within Nigeria and outside that we can use. So on the international level, we have the EU has created their own acts. To give an example, we have the EU Act, which essentially places AI on three different levels. The ones that are the most that have caused the most problem, the ones with fairly okay, the ones that you should avoid as much as possible. So we have to look at those. Then China already has its own policy. Nigeria, the NIDA created an AI policy, so that's in the works. There's also the one that the African Union approved sometime in August last year. So there are quite a few things that are being done, but there's a need to communicate this to the to those of us that are not, I'm in government now, to those of you that are not in government, so that you can also have opportunity to make input and follow the regulations. Now, for organizations like the CIoD, so what we did as the MBA in my committee is we did guidelines for the use of artificial intelligence for lawyers, guidance for the use of data protection guidance, etc. So we have those guidance documents that we give to each lawyer. So as a lawyer, you know to what extent you can use, how you can use it, what you should do about it, how you should select technology operators. So organizations like the CIoD can actually engage in such practices where your members, you put together a committee or a group of people, you people work on certain documents, you have interact with members, interact with other members of the public, once you get the information to a particular level, then you can now release it. And that sort of starts as a base level document for the use of AI amongst yourselves. You are saying, okay, you can also go ahead to say, okay, these are particular list of AI organization or AI tools that you can use because of we have checked their privacy level, we've checked this, they meet certain requirements, and we can use that. Then for individuals, I'm going to come to that in my response in the next section of this group, but I just want to touch on it. I don't want to go too much into it, but I want to say that, as I indicated before, there is a need for you for data, AI runs on data, and if there's no data, it will not work. So for you have to differentiate between the data that can be provided for AI and the data that cannot be provided for AI. You have to spend money. So there are some AI software that are local in the sense that you just feed it with your personal data, personal company data, personal information, and it's able to use that information to create solutions that are streamlined to you without taking that data to a third-party model, for example. So you can develop that, you can invest in that on your own level. You can also say, okay, we are going to be able to provide so amount of data, to the and you have to delimit it immediately. You don't have to just give it all. You have to ensure that within your organization you have a structure that delineates what information, because again, AI thrives on information. If you don't have information, if AI does not have information, you give you stupid data. And if you give you stupid data, you say AI is not working. Meanwhile, you give you information that relates to third parties, you give you American related information, you give you EU related, you give you all that information that you may not necessarily. So it's important that you also, as a policy, ensure that, okay, we're going to be using these kinds of AI, and then we're going to provide this kind of information to them so that they can develop. Otherwise, we'd not have the AI that we're looking for. I think that's about it from the three angles that I look at it.
Okay, thank you so much. Fantastic. I really appreciate, you covered all grounds. Going back to Mina, and I think because of time, we need to start.
Sorry. I just want to make a point. Small point. I want to say that I don't necessarily agree with either Mina or Scott about AI replacing or not replacing us. So I think that with the development of AI, as of now, AI is replacing certain people in certain jobs. In fact, a lot of companies who have made certain roles have become redundant now. And as we go on, a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that we do. Now, there's a race towards, agentic AI is just a small aspect. There's a race towards AGI, artificial general intelligence, and that race is coming. So by the time we're getting to that, the more we develop, the more we find that a lot of what we do, roles that we occupy, are not going to be available. Another argument can be that the face of jobs will change. So while these jobs are becoming obsolete, another set of jobs will come. But the reality is that jobs as we know them will become redundant. So it's important that we all upscale. So companies have to engage in upscaling, the upscaling, technology upscaling, so that they're able to meet up the requirement, because it's not just organizations, not just individual employees, but also companies can go out of existence because they fail to apply certain requirements. And for those who are professional organizations, most of the time your rules of conduct would ordinarily say that you should use the best available resources. Now it becomes an issue, an ethical issue, if you don't use the best available. If you have AI that can deliver to your client in 2 hours, and you fail to use it and deliver to your client in 2 months, are you optimizing your data? Are you not violating whatever, those ones that work within professional organizations? Doesn't that affect you? Doesn't that become an ethical responsibility that you become liable for if you don't use it? So that's my additional talk. I'm sorry for calling you back.
Thank you so much, Fernandez. From just this last point you've stated, I think even the Nigerian Bar Association needs to make this aspect of AI, understanding AI principles, AI ethics of AI, the use of AI, maybe a course in the law school or part of the curriculum in our law in the university for law students, because really it's a gray area, and it's an area that needs to be well understood so that lawyers are in a better position to advise. Yeah. So
We're
going into another.
it.
All right. Thank you. Fantastic. So going into another round of questions, I want to implore our panelists to keep it short, within 1 minute or 2, so that we will have enough time to be able to take the questions from the audience. Going back to Mina, I want to know, or our audience will want to know, what are the most significant challenges organizations face when implementing AI, and how do they overcome it? What are the most significant challenges organizations face when implementing AI, and how do you think you can go about overcoming it?
Okay. So thank you so much. And I think I wanted to rebut what Fernandez said, but we're both lawyers, but I'm going to leave it for now.
I said it. In my mind, I said you are going to rebut.
Yeah, I'll leave that for now, for lack of time, for want of time, rather. Okay, so I think currently, right, one of the challenges that organizations will face is the fact that, there's going to be a pushback from people who are used to the traditional way of doing things. So I like to work with examples, and I'll give an example. Recently, I went to the general hospital, where my mom used to work for something. And I wanted to get a file for my file, right? And I saw them trying to look through their archives, they were trying to look for the file they have an archive room, and many organizations have an archive room, right? But we have moved from paper to computer. We have moved rather from paper to, technology, right? That now people can easily have document, on their phones, on their systems, So there's that pushback from organizations who are used to the traditional way of doing things. When you go to the civil service, for those of us who work in public service, or civil service, right? You will realize that civil servants are still using paper. Lots of offices still have paper records stacked somewhere. And we cannot grow because, we're still doing the same thing over and over again. And most people are not open to change, right? So that's one of it. The second one is the fact that organizations are not ready to integrate these new systems. It still flows from the first point I raised. The second one, organizations are not able to flow with these new systems, right? How many organizations know about cloud computing? How many organizations know about APIs, connecting your computers and all of that? So most of the time when I'm in meetings, right, to help me manage whatever network situation might arise in the course of the meeting, I connect to more than one device. I have like 2 or 3 devices, right? But many people don't even understand that that is a thing. That is cloud computing, right? You know, many organizations don't know that that is a thing. Many organizations don't know how to, you know, sort of build that connection within, you know, their system. The last one is, you know, the fact that we have talent shortage and there's a skill gap as well, right? So we don't have people who are well trained. We don't have people who are well skilled in certain areas. AI development and implementation requires specialized skills, right? Skills in data science, skills in machine learning, in AI ethics and the rest. These days, we just bring, as long as you're somebody who learns, you know, website design from somewhere, you know, as far as you're someone who probably just, you came out of school, you didn't get a job, so you probably learned how to code somehow, right? People just bring them into their companies to manage certain systems. Most of these experts rather, don't even have the requisite knowledge on some areas in AI and tech. For instance, the ethical aspect of things. You need people who are well-trained, people who understand the system, people who understand how these things work, you know. So you cannot bring someone, a roadside website designer who does not understand cybersecurity or who does not understand how to put certain frameworks and infrastructure in place to manage, you know, your company website. Even if you're bringing someone who is not skilled, right? There's a need for you to train them, right? So there's that aspect of skill gap and, you know, talent shortage where we don't have people who are well skilled in certain areas. People go to school and study computer science and don't even know how to use a computer, you know. So these are some of the issues. These are some of the things that I think, and then there's a high cost as well, right? Most times we find it difficult to employ tech people who are, you know, well-breasted or well-abreast in that area because, you know, there's no money to fund that aspect of the organization, right? So these are some of the challenges that organizations face.
Thank you so much, Mina. Thank you. Scott had already talked about the impact AI is having across a number of industries, retail, finance, healthcare, automobile, and so on and so forth. But we do have traditional industries, you know, like manufacturing, agriculture. So I'd like to hear from you, Scott, how is AI transforming these traditional industries? And what industries do you think will be most disrupted in the near future? Yeah. Please unmute. Unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you. All right. I think I'll take it back a bit and put out that there are a couple of actual artificial intelligence model out there. They are not as many as we assume, right? People say AIs are popping up every other day, but they are not. There are a specific set of models, and this is because the cost of training a single model is very expensive. Something I've heard over and over today is there is a bias in training. So right now you interact with a particular AI model, it has a certain series of information it can provide based on who trained it, based on the available information. Speak about like us here in Nigeria, where we don't put stuff online. Barrister Mina was talking about how you go to offices and stuff are still lined up in paper offices or in paper storage. This just tells you that even if you want a machine to understand our own industry, it doesn't have the resource to study our industries. It doesn't have the resource to understand how the Nigerian market works, because companies don't even like putting true numbers on the internet. They don't file true numbers anywhere that you can find, right? If a company is making expense today, it's tricky to go say, okay, I want to do as an individual full audit of this company if you don't get an expert to do it. This is something that globally anybody should be able to find, right? Well, to a certain degree. So places I see it impacts, and first off, I want to address maybe here is our education. This is because almost every child today has access to a smartphone because they're on TikTok, right? If they don't have access to a smartphone, they won't be on TikTok. I made this joke recently that I see people who will tell you they've not eaten all day, but you see that extra 100 naira, 200 naira to check WhatsApp, they will find it one way or the other. They will find that money. So it tells you that access to the internet is, it's becoming cheaper and cheaper. Well, it became expensive recently, but it's becoming more accessible. What this means is education can play on that, right? People already use Duolingo to get certification. Khan Academy, I think this is in India, it already has a full AI tutor, meaning rather than have a teacher walk you through stuff or through anything you want to learn, there's an artificial intelligence that can walk you through that particular topic or that particular course, and you will get certified. So I see that as something that would easily be disrupted here, because education is something that we struggle with, and everyone is trying one way or the other to get informed, to get educated. It's the reason why when online learning became a thing, as much as people said it is not strong or it is not important, you have a lot of people with online degrees today. That's because people want to get educated, at least to a great degree. Agriculture is something that is very strong here. So you see the John Deere AI-driven tractor. So it's a machine that is being driven by AI. It is currently very expensive, but that's one place that we saw a huge disruption, right? You have a machine that understands topography, that understands how to drive the tractors, that understands seeding, that understands cultivation. Having that work and finding a way to make something that we can take on as an economy, because if we struggle with food and we struggle with the fact that we can't produce on time, we can actually spend on that cost. When we can produce more, we can harvest more, we can distribute more with this. In manufacturing, it's I think I want to address the first. As much as we are a creative economy, we are not so strong in exporting our creativity, except the arts. And so when it comes to manufacturing, we see external world playing stronger. I mentioned automation before, automobile, cars, right? I mentioned factory work being, done mostly by artificial intelligence itself. So for manufacturing, you have robots that are helping in producing your phones today in China. So rather than have people couple it like they used to, you have robots now doing this sense, and they are all AI powered or AI driven. Why I started by saying there are not so many AI models, it's because the AI models themselves that exist are now being used as systems to run a lot of the AI powered products. So you have the models and you have the product. So if you are manufacturing headphones, for example, you can now infuse this AI that exists, either GPT or DeepSeek or Gemini, whatever you want to use, whichever model you want to use, you can use them and use their resource to train the product that you are building, which is not an AI product, but an AI-driven product or an AI-empowered product to build it. So these are three areas that I see disrupting traditionally. As for the ones I see disrupting maybe in the next decade, I hinted this earlier, the legal sector, we already see disrupting. Currently, there's a particular AI called Harvey AI that is being used by law firms, right? This is helping with contract analysis. This is helping with review of contracts, summary of contracts. This is helping with adjusting policies based on what is constitutional to a given location. So if you upload the constitution of your given region and say, these are the constitution that are available to me, I'm trying to create compliance and policy, you now have a full machine that can do this for you. I can't imagine how much that would cost to do, but now you have a machine that can do it for you. And I think Harvey AI is one of the biggest out there. So in the next 10 years, we see Harvey AI doing way better. We see others coming out competing in that market. Can everyone still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
I just want to
Okay.
ask, right? I hope you can do this in just 1 minute. Can AI be used to generate electricity?
I saw the question earlier. Now,
Okay.
AIs can be used to power systems that will generate
Okay.
electricity. AIs can propose solutions based on studies to generate electricity. The question is like asking if I, as a human being, can produce electricity. I have neurons and electrons running through my veins. Doesn't mean I can be, I can be used to produce electricity, right? But I can create machines, or I can support machines that would create electricity. So to answer that question, if someone understudies the electrical outputs we have in our location, in our country, we understudy how much we can generate as a people, what our population like, what's the current consumption rate, put that into a machine. It can propose ideas that we can use. It can then power machines that reduces human dependencies and human errors. Those are the things it can help do, but on its own, no. Artificial intelligence in themselves cannot do those things. You know, they depend on people doing certain things. I hope that can answer that particular question.
All right. Thank you very much, Scott. You've done more than wonderful, just really addressing this area of. We'll just go to Fernandez, and I'm just hoping that you can do this in 2 minutes, so that take the questions. There's a barrage of questions that we have. Okay, 1 minute, yes, because we're really pressed for time. So, what are the steps organizations can take? More responsible in the adoption of AI? How can organization become more responsible? What steps do they need to take? Adoption, responsible AI. And how can businesses also ensure that AI is ethically used and is in compliance with even existing laws like data protection?
Okay, thank you very much. So the first step is don't close the door. So let me be fast. The first step is don't close the door. If you don't close the door, okay. Let me talk at human speed. Anyway, so the first step is don't close the door. You don't want to say don't use AI. You want to say, okay, you have to first, I want to use AI. That's the first step. The second step really is to develop a policy. So you should have an internal policy document that guides how you use this AI. No, it's not something that you should just say, okay, let us use it and see how it goes. So you should have a policy. What you do is you should invite, you should have an expert, really expert, come look at your program, make recommendations. On the basis of those recommendations, you develop a policy that you use for your organization. And beforehand, you know what should happen if, for example, there's a virtual call, somebody calls you that I want to withdraw social media from my account. What should you do to recognize that it's deep sick? And if you recognize that you have been affected, what steps can you take to reverse that problem? You should already have a document that is already answering a lot of the questions that people ask. And the one way you can do it is really to have experts come to the table and review what you have, review your systems, and then provide recommendations on the basis of which you develop a policy. I used to do that. I still have a company that does that, but we used to do that for law firms. Go in and say, okay, these are what you recommend and what you do. And there are a number of other organizations that are there that do that. The second part and development of technology. Hello, I think I was lost for a bit. Can you hear me?
Yes, continue, please.
Okay. So a lot of the times you find that the younger people are the ones that are willing and are able to drive these things because they understand it, they're used to it. A number of them are digital natives. The problem is that we complain that the older people are not willing to learn. But my solution to that problem is that we're not understanding how to get from point A to point B. So because of that gap in communication, we're not able to do that. So organization can specifically find these change makers, train them not just in the use of technology, but in how to pass that information such that it will be acceptable. So sometimes you need to change your strategy. So for example, rather than telling them, giving them up front and giving up, you say, okay, let us take this aspect and let us do it in this way. Let us do it in this way. Let us have this conversation in this way. And that will help the entire company in developing. You have to specifically know your environment and how to implement it. And there's a third thing, of course, there are the legal requirements. The NDPA requires that you have a data protection officer as part of the employment. So that's a significant aspect. But as much as possible, you ensure that those data protection officers are not just serving that data protection work, they're also vast in knowledge of artificial intelligence and other aspects of the law. So that when issues come, they're able to give you their inputs immediately and make recommendations. Because you said I don't have time and I have to talk at human pace, this is all I will give you.
Okay, fantastic. Very well. Thank you so much to all our panelists. I mean, if we were given all the time that we require, I know that this will continue to go on and on. It's not exhaustive, but we've done our best in just really informing, educating, and enlightening our participants. Thank you so much. Please, let's give it up to all our participants for the fantastic job they've done. Please Let's clap for them. Let's see those emojis coming. Let's see those clappers. Let's see those thumbs up coming in. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Thank you so much. At this point, I'm going to yield the floor to our coordinator, Mrs. Bala Shehu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. This session has been most enlightening and educative. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks our moderator for guiding us through such a technical yet engaging and thought-provoking discussion on AI and business landscape. And to our distinguished panelists, we truly, really appreciate your expertise, insights, and the perspectives you've shared with us this afternoon on how AI will continue to shape and reshape our business landscape. This is not vote of thanks. We're still going to have a formal vote of thanks at the end of the webinar. To our participants, I hope this session has inspired us all to think critically and creatively on how we can latch on to this incredible evolution of technology and leverage on innovation. We really do not have a choice, do we? We have to evolve with technology. As I was listening to the panel discussion, I remembered a documentary, a CNN documentary I watched a couple of months ago. And the documentary was on ASI. That got me thinking on the fact that while we are still trying to learn AI, artificial intelligence, in other climes, people are already talking about artificial superintelligence. In a nutshell, what I got from that documentary, I was just thinking about it now, is that while AI performs tasks that require human intelligence, like Mina and Scott said earlier, that AI simulates human intelligence. Artificial superintelligence, according to that documentary, will simulate what surpasses human intelligence. And it's going to do this in all fields of creativity, engineering. I was surprised to even hear of emotional intelligence. So that's the world we are now. The world is evolving and we must evolve too. Our businesses must evolve. So like our speakers have said, we should not be afraid of AI. Our moderator was very emphatic on it. We just need to continually educate, upscale ourselves and the people working around us, our businesses, so that this technology does not hurt us. We've seen different ways that the technology can actually hurt us if we are not mindful. So that this technology does not hurt us, but instead we will add value to us and our businesses, especially in the area of innovation, process improvement, and we also need to understand the regulatory environment that this artificial intelligence operates. So I just want to say, let's carry this momentum forward and continue to upgrade and upgrade our knowledge and flow with the trend. So we will quickly go to second to the last segment of the webinar. We have a set of questions for our participants, and there are good prizes to be won. There's a book called Prediction Machine by Ajay Agrawal and Joshua Gans. So this book is up for grabs. Never mind that it's called Prediction Machine. I'm sure it's not really mechanical like that. So the book is particularly useful for business leaders, policymakers, and entrepreneurs, as it offers insight into how AI can improve productivity, create new opportunities, and reshape strategies. So this book will go to the first person to log on to the webinar today. So IT, please, could you help us announce the first person to log on to the webinar today? Okay, so I had asked earlier, and then I was told that Mina, the Heidi, yes. IT, do you have the name? Can I use the name that was given to me before?
Yes, we do. It's correct.
Okay.
Heidi Wendish.
Heidi Wendish is the winner. So congratulations, Heidi. We like people keeping to time at the Institute. So congratulations, well done. I want to specifically thank two of our panelists this morning. It's afternoon now, today, for being magnanimous enough to donate 2 of their books to us. So we are going to give a copy of ebook titled One with Machine by Scott Eneje. Scott, thank you so much for giving us this book. You've not just given us your knowledge today, you're also giving us your work. Thank you, we're very grateful for that. So the winner of this ebook titled One with Machine by Scott C. Eneje has to answer this question. What is the address of CIoD Abuja Zone new head office? Yeah, the CIoD Abuja Zone new head office. Do we have a winner? So his fastest fingers first. I see Chantel. Am I right? So I see Chantel. Is that correct? No, that's, no, Chantal is not right. ESTY. So Dr. Jazuli, could you confirm?
Sorry, madam.
Could you confirm the answer? 18B Bobo Street of Ghana Street, Maitama?
Yeah, yes, 18B.
Excellent.
Bobo Street, yes.
Okay, so we have a winner. The name of the winner is not quite visible, so you'll have to type your full name.
Sorry, it's 19B. Sorry, 19B. 19. Yes, madam.
Okay, so I will we'll give it to her or him. We don't know who that person is because it's close.
Esther Wednesday.
Esther, okay. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Esther. Please, you will need to get in touch with us because your full name is not showing. So the third prize, it's also a book that has been given to us. This is not an e-book, it's a physical book that has been given to us by Mr. Fernandez Marcos Obiene. Thank you very much for not just giving us your knowledge today, but your book, your work as well. So the title of the book is Law and Technologies, Exploring the Evolving Intersection of Law and Technology. This book, again, is written by our panel, one of our panelists, Mr. Fernandez Marcos Obiene. And the winner has to answer this question. Again, fastest fingers first. Who amongst our panelists today is the Special Assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on Justice Sector Reform and ICT Digital and Innovative Technology? Okay. Oh, wow. IT, you have to help me here. I think who was the first person? I think Chantel, right? Chantel Chiweta.
Yes, that's correct.
That's correct.
Chantel. Yeah.
Congratulations, Chantel. So you have won yourself a book by the person you've given the right response for. So Law and Technologies by Fernandez Marcos Obiene is yours for grab. Congratulations. And I also want to thank Scott again for giving us his white paper on, it's a PDF. I tried to to upload it. I wasn't able to successfully upload it. So if you could just help to put it on the chat. So he again has magnanimously given us his write-up in PDF format. It's a white paper on AI. Thank you so much. Congratulations again to all our winners, on all our participants at this webinar. So at this point, I'd like to hand over to the PRO CIoD Abuja zone, Mr. Roland, to give a vote of thanks on behalf of the Chartered Institute of Directors, Nigeria. Mr. Roland, over to you, please. I hope he's still with us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Maryam. On behalf of the CIoD Abuja chapter, I noticed that time is fast spent, so I wouldn't waste much of our time. I'd like to sincerely extend our appreciation to the chairman of council, our president, who has been here, was one of the first to join the panelist group. I want to extend appreciation as well to the chairperson, Mrs. Nwando, of the Abuja Zone chapter. I want to thank the program coordinator as well as moderator, Madam Maryam and Mr. Ayo, as well as all other panelist members. Our gratitude goes more importantly after the team leaders to the participants. When I was looking and reviewing the participants, I saw that we number not less than 120. The IT department will help us out. And so to have been able to have up to 120 participants on this seminar and stay till the end, as I speak, I still record a minimum of 104 participants, has confirmed to us that you are quite, you have quite appreciated the value of this seminar. And to have waited to this time, we're really grateful. And we hope that when we call you for another one, you will be present. When you look at the various innovations that has been introduced in this program, I'm sure you know that we have not started. The CID Abuja zone has just kick-started, and this is just a tip of the iceberg. We look forward to your participation in future events. Once again, we thank you sincerely.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you for participating and hope to see you soon.